Hello and welcome. My name is Claire and this is my nonprofit presentation. Now before I begin, I want to clarify that due to some technical difficulties, I was not able to pull up my poster while also presenting you this presentation. So before you go forward with this presentation, I encourage you to pull up my poster so that way you are able to follow along and be on the same page with the content that I am presenting to you this evening. So for tonight, the nonprofit that I will be presenting is called Love Wins, and Love Wins is a nonprofit that will help benefit the LGBTQ youth within Warren County. So for today, the stuff that will be covered for my nonprofit will include the mission and vision, some goals, the services that will be provided, an organizational structure section, strategic planning, an ideal budget for the fiscal year of 2021, and program evaluation. And so let's just get started. So for Love Wins, as I said, it will be a nonprofit that will help benefit the LGBTQ youth. So with that, the mission of Love Wins will include that it ensures that a safe environment will always be accessible for LGBTQ youth within their community, while also helping them build strengths and decrease fears for when they are ready to take the steps to come out to their family and peers. And then the vision of Love Wins will include Love Wins assures a positive experience for LGBTQ youth. And with this, Love Wins envisions a safe haven environment. And when becoming more involved, Love Wins helps LGBTQ youth stay on track with strengthening their mental health, build strengths of being open with their identity, and then to become future advocates of the LGBTQ community. And with the specific goals that are on the poster, the goals are set up to meet these specific standards, which include to provide a safe and open-minded, non-biased environment for LGBTQ youth, and then to teach youth to build strengths for when they want to come out, and then to provide resources equivalent to a gay-straight alliance, as well as provide competent services for the LGBTQ youth. So with the services, the specific location that Love Wins will be at will be on Old Morgantown Road in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Now for this specific location, it is solely based on the fact that one, Old Morgantown Road is walking distance from WKU's campus, and two, there's a lot of diversity and also other social services that are located on Old Morgantown Road, such as services for the Bosnian population within Bowling Green, as well as services for interpreters. And then also there's an opportunity to being exposed to a lot of diversity on Old Morgantown Road. And this could include areas such as the Bahar Cafe, an African American market, as well as Simply Ramen. And so with the services, there are 3 services, and the first service will be strictly micro-based. And so for the micro-based, it will be concentrated on stage 5 of Erickson's stage of psychosocial development, which is identity versus identity confusion. And so the type of micro practice that will be presented to clients will be gay affirmative practice. And so with gay affirmative practice, it is solely based on affirming that LGBTQ identity is a positive experience rather than a negative experience. So basically, gay affirmative practice is the exact opposite of conversion therapy, just to clarify any type of confusion. And then based on the literature of gay affirmative practice is solely strengths-based, And so with the micro practice that will be set up for LGBTQ youth at Love Wins, a biopsychosocial assessment will be put together. So that way each client will have their own treatment plan that they can respond to. And so basically the treatment plan will be put together by both the client and the social worker. So that way they're on the same page with what they want to do while the client is receiving services, as well as making sure that the client is responding to their specific treatment plan and making sure that their needs are met. And then gay affirmative practice is also based on the person and environment perspective. So with the person and environment perspective for micro practice, this will help LGBTQ youth thoroughly examine their own social environment if they were to encounter some type of obstacle that could include like homophobia or discrimination. And so with that, gay affirmative practice is also based off of a cognitive behavioral therapy approach. So with the cognitive behavioral therapy approach, it's not a matter of changing their way of thinking with maladaptive behaviors, but more so on the lines of promoting positive effectiveness with one's well-being. So basically learning how they can overcome obstacles while also maintaining a positive mindset. And with the cognitive behavioral therapy approach, LGBTQ youth can also learn who they can turn to for their support, as well as, learn who their support system is, as well as learning how to overcome obstacles such as, dealing with a bully per se. And then for the meso practice, there will be weekly group sessions. So the weekly group sessions will be set up as gay-straight alliances where anyone is welcome. And then based on literature for group sessions, the group sessions will be set up as institutional support and friend support. So with the institutional support, it involves becoming more involved with the community. So with Love Wins per se, some of the examples that can relate to becoming involved with the community can include Love Wins possibly having a booth set up at Bowling Green Pride, or becoming involved with Bowling Green Fairness within Bowling Green. And then for the friend support, it's beneficial while developing one's identity. So with that, the friend support is very effective when it comes to building empathy with one another. And plus, group members are also able to build strong relationships with one another. So with the friend support specifically within group sessions, it's one of the outcomes that is hopeful with the group sessions is that, not only are the group participants gaining good, close relationships, but also they're helping each other build their own support system. And so with that, some of the group sessions will also be set up to where members can share their experiences with one another. So with sharing experiences with one another, LGBTQ youth help each other build trust, confidence, and comfortable relationships, which is something that has been researched, and there has been a lot of positive effectiveness with the concept of friend support with LGBTQ youth and in groups. And then for the open accessibility, the doors of Love Wins will always be open for people to come to. And then there will be lounge areas that can be accessible for social interaction, as well as activities such as coloring. And then one of the things that's highly stressed as to why this service is needed is that coming out can overall be a stressful process. And with that, the outcome of coming out can be unpredictable. So with Love Wins, we want to provide services that can help build strengths among LGBTQ youth and to overcome stress they may be experiencing. So with that, Love Wins wants to help build strengths and to help them overcome the stress And regardless of the outcome of when they do decide to come out, the LGBTQ youth can continue to overcome obstacles while maintaining a positive mindset and well-being. And plus, Love Wins is a nonprofit that will be open all year long, compared to a gay straight alliance that is only open during the academic year of a secondary school. So with the specific organizational chart that is presented in front of you, there will be a board of directors, and then there will be an LCSW, an MSW, as well as MSW interns, BSW interns, and then just general volunteers. And so with the board of directors will be partnering with the LCSW and the MSW. So with this partnership, this will help ensure that the budget for Love Wins will be consistent, as well as, making sure that policies are being followed, as well as brainstorming possibly new policies for Love Wins to ensure that there's effectiveness and ethical standards as it continues. And then the LCSW will be in charge of the individual therapy, which is the gay affirmative practice, and as well as, teaching, helping youth build strengths to come out and such. And then the MSW will be in charge of the group therapies and the meso practice, as well as, partnering with, as well as, exploring partnerships with the fairness, with Bowling Green Fairness, as well as possibly Band Conversion Therapy of Kentucky, which is a nonprofit that has branches throughout the entire state. And then we are hoping that if Love Wins is as successful as we hope it will be, we are hoping that it will be a nonprofit that can be approved for BSW and MSW in students to intern for their field placement as they continue their education at WKU. And then we plan to have any type of volunteers that no specific criteria is needed other than just a passion of working and helping LGBTQ youth and making a difference within the LGBTQ community. And so with Love Wins, the type of organizational structure that will be enacted is a policy governance. And then the type of leadership that will be enacted will be the transformational leadership. And so with Love Wins, there will be 1 supervisor, 2 employees, and then 2 to 4 volunteers. And so the training per se, the training will be set up to where employees will be required to participate in an online training that goes into more depth with LGBTQ history. So basically, the training will include historical events such as Harvey Milk, Cleve Jones, the AIDS epidemic, the AIDS quilt, the death of Matthew Shepard and the Hate Crimes and Preventions Act, as well as the legalization of gay marriage both in 2008 and 2015, as well as an overall outline of conversion therapy as well. And then with that too, another thing that will be accessible for a training requirement is the coming out handbook that was published by the Trevor Project, which you can get access to within this PowerPoint. I have provided a link for you to access to it, and it's a PDF document. So this is the coming out handbook that was published by the Trevor Project. And so if you turn to page 14, it goes over some key figures when it comes to the concept of coming out. And so some of the stuff coming out, so this is what page 14 starts with. So coming out can include an overview of things such as planning ahead, your social environment, testing the waters, what location you would like to come out to, your school, and then your overall support system. And then another thing too that will be highly stressed will be a training called CARE, which is also published by the Trevor Project. So CARE basically stands for Connect, Accept, Respond, and Empower. So basically it's an overall training of how to help LGBTQ youth. And then another thing that will be stressed within the training is transgender identity. And that's mainly because transgender identity there's been more research about it within the last few years compared to 10 to 20 years. So it's important to ensure that employees have a better understanding of transgender identity. So that way all LGBTQ youth within Warren County are receiving competent services for when they step foot into Love Wins. So with the strategic planning, the SWOT analysis would include some of the strengths such as the Love Wins is the only nonprofit with the specific services within Bowling Green, as well as it being located on Old Morgantown Road, as well as the trainings that the employees are required to take advantage of, increase their cultural competency skills. Some weaknesses can include biased employees and unethical practice. And then opportunities can include involvement with the overall community of Bowling Green, as well as the involvement of nonprofits that are located on Old Morgantown Road, as well as broader distribution. And then some of the threats could include negative word of mouth, homophobia, the pandemic of COVID-19, and hate crimes. So with growth will be managed by adding future staff, more specifically an LCSW and maybe another MSW, and then becoming more involved with the community, such as participating in Bowling Green Pride and asking for feedback based off of clients' overall experience with Love Wins. And then some of the opportunities and strengths that can be harnessed would be communicating with Kentuckians for the Commonwealth, as well as government officials such as Patty Minter, and seeing if they would like to partner with Love Wins and help Love Wins get their name more out there within the community. And then advocate how the services of Love Wins is beneficial, especially within rural areas. And then another thing too for opportunities would be to have weekly staff meetings, so that way the staff has good communication skills and make sure that they're on the same page and they're able to exchange thoughts and concerns that they have for the overall nonprofit. And then some threats and weaknesses in order to minimize this. There will be a security system installed with Love Wins, and so the security system will include like cameras and an alarm system, as well as communication with the Bowling Green Police and seeing how often they patrol and navigate Old Morgantown Road whenever they drive around the neighborhood. And then with the risk reduction method, the specific risk reduction method that will be used will be risk management. So with risk management, this is specifically used because, or this will specifically be used because it helps identify threats that are potentially high. They help determine likelihood of occurrence. They take necessary action to prevent from problems occurring ever again, according to Galinsky per se. And then with the staff being so small, this is highly beneficial because there's more effective communication and there's more open-mindedness, as well as ensuring that everyone's on the same page with what kind of problems have been occurring, what can we do to try to solve them, or what has been done or what hasn't been done. And then with the program's budget, The program or the budget is specifically set up for the fiscal year of 2021. And so with the totals for the funding per se, it would be $166,980. And then within the budget, some content can include the salaries of the LCSW and the MSW, the fringe, which is 25%, the supplies needed for Love Wins, such as the coloring and all of that, as well as computers and lounge areas, and then for the phone, and then for the rent of the building per se, as well as security, utilities, and equipment. And so with the income will be based off of a mix of grants and funds off of Bowling Green and worldwide nonprofits. So the ones specifically from Bowling Green will include United Way, the Flexible Neighborhood Grant, and the Housing Activities Grant. And then the worldwide nonprofits that will help ensure the funding of Love Wins will include NAMI, Alliance for Full Acceptance, Stonewall Community Foundation, Sparkplug Foundation, and Small Change Foundation. So with the income specifically, the total comes out to $272,000 with a surplus of $105,000 and $105,020, excuse me. And so with the surplus will be used to help hire an additional LCSW and possibly another MSW, as well as cover additional payments such as insurance and rent. And then another thing too to consider with the surplus is to possibly put together a funding for merchandise. So this can include like t-shirts, as well as, maybe possibly bracelets, such as the one that I'm wearing here, with the Band Conversion Therapy Kentucky logo on it. And then for the program evaluation, will have a needs assessment as well as a survey. So the needs assessment will be presented to ask questions such as, what are some specific needs that you identify, and how are these specific needs currently being met? And what resources are currently available to meet the needs, as well as how can we better those current resources. And this will be an open-ended questionnaire for the participants of Love Wins. And then there will also be a 10-question survey, which is available to you, which is the second slide of this PowerPoint presentation. So the survey has 10 simple questions, and they're on a Likert scale, with 5 being strongly agree and 1 being strongly disagree. And so basically the survey will be handed out to measure pre-test and post-test measurements. And then some of the questions that are included in the survey are the environment of Love Wins is very warm and welcoming. Love Wins has been a positive impact of my life. Love Wins has been beneficial when it comes to my overall mental health, etc., etc. And so I would like to say that Love Wins is very compliant with the Code of Ethics, mainly because the services represent the values, dignity and worth of person, importance of human relationships, competence and integrity. And then the vision helps represents social justice. And then I would also like to say that that Love Wins is very compliant with the standards of cultural competency due to the very specific trainings that are required to complete prior to practicing social work practice among the employees. And plus the biases self-assessment can help increase cultural competency skills. And so with that, one of the standards that's highly acknowledged and compliant with Love Wins is self-awareness, especially when it comes to the with the biases self-assessment. So that way, the biases self-assessment will be set up to ensure that the employees of Love Wins can learn to put their biases to the side while working with LGBTQ youth. And that concludes this presentation. I hope you have found this presentation very exciting as much as I have been excited presenting it. This is something that I'm very, very passionate about, and I honestly feel that this is a service that is not present within a lot of areas, and I feel like that this would be very beneficial for LGBTQ youth, especially when it comes to there's been an increase in gay-straight alliances, and my generation specifically has acknowledged that they wish that they had those types of services for when they were young and when they realized that they identified as LGBTQ. And because of that, people my generation specifically have acknowledged that because of services such as gay-straight alliances, there's been more of a positive impact with current LGBTQ youth. And so I'm hoping that Love Wins will be able to receive approval into furthering those services. And thank you very much.